The purpose and scope of Common Criteria 7, CC7, center on maintaining secure, reliable, and continuously improving operational environments. While earlier criteria establish governance, risk, and access control, CC7 focuses on day-to-day technical discipline, how systems are configured, maintained, and hardened to resist failure or attack. It encompasses configuration management, vulnerability management, and patch management as interlocking processes that sustain both security and availability. CC7 links operational assurance to the organization's commitments under SOC 2. Promises of uptime, confidentiality, and integrity are fulfilled only when production systems remain stable and current. Proper execution of these operational controls proves that the environment is not only designed securely, but kept that way through constant monitoring and maintenance.
The foundation of CC7 lies in configuration management, the systematic establishment of approved, secure baselines. Every server, network device, or cloud resource must have a defined starting point aligned with policy and verified by version control. Infrastructure as Code, IAC, brings consistency by codifying configurations and managing them like software, complete with peer review and change approval. Before deployment, changes must pass authorization and testing to prevent drift or unintended exposure. Post-deployment validation confirms the live environment matches the baseline. Drift detection tools monitor for deviations, alerting teams when a system slips out of compliance. This discipline ensures that what should be and what is remain continuously aligned. System hardening standards translate high-level security frameworks into practical baselines. Benchmarks from the Center for Internet Security, CIS, vendor guidance, or regulatory frameworks define configuration parameters for operating systems, databases, and middleware. Default credentials, services, and ports are removed or disabled. Hardened configuration templates and scripts guarantee uniform deployment across fleets, reducing configuration-related vulnerabilities. Deviations from the standard must be documented, risk-assessed, and formally approved. Hardening isn't a one-time exercise. It evolves as technologies and threats change. Maintaining versioned baselines ensures each generation of infrastructure inherits lessons from prior audits and incidents.
Patch management converts vulnerability awareness into tangible remediation. Every system should appear in an asset inventory that classifies its importance and owner. Patches follow defined cycles, weekly, monthly, or emergency, each requiring testing in a staging environment to ensure compatibility. Rollback plans protect against faulty updates. Successful patching is verified through logs and compliance reports showing percentage completion by severity. Emergency patches, such as those addressing 0 days, bypass normal cycles but must still include testing and documentation. Patch management is both a technical and governance process, proving that the organization acts swiftly and predictably when threats emerge. When patching isn't immediately feasible, exception and risk acceptance procedures maintain transparency. Business owners must justify any deferral, document compensating controls, and set an expiration date. Periodic reviews ensure exceptions don't become permanent. Risk acceptance logs include rationale, approval signatures, and evidence of ongoing monitoring. Each patch cycle triggers revalidation of open exceptions to confirm that circumstances still warrant delay. This governance structure converts operational limitations into managed risk rather than silent exposure, maintaining auditor and stakeholder confidence in the control environment. In modern architectures, cloud and container management require equivalent rigor. Golden images and immutable infrastructure principles ensure every environment originates from a verified template rather than ad hoc configuration. Container registries must undergo vulnerability scanning before deployment, and build pipelines should propagate patches automatically through new image versions. Secrets, credentials, and environment variables must be stored securely and rotated regularly. Because cloud services evolve rapidly, configuration management must track API changes and deprecations that could weaken control coverage. Treating cloud as code, continuously scanned and version controlled, keeps the ephemeral nature of modern infrastructure under stable governance. Reliable network and firewall operations provide the connective tissue for CC7. Standard rule baselines define approved ports, protocols, and services, minimizing exposure by enforcing least privilege. Change workflows control rule additions, requiring justification and review by security personnel.
Regular cleanup removes obsolete rules, reducing complexity and potential misconfiguration. Automated validation tools detect drift or anomalies in firewall and routing policies. Segmentation, isolating production, development, and management zones, prevents compromise from spreading laterally. Routine reviews ensure the network remains not only functional but defensible, balancing performance and protection. Robust monitoring and alerting setups transform system health into actionable intelligence. Logs from infrastructure, applications, and security tools must aggregate into a centralized SIEM or monitoring platform where they're correlated for anomalies. Health checks, latency thresholds, and error rate monitoring detect both performance and security deviations. Alert thresholds must be tuned to criticality, ensuring that meaningful events trigger prompt response without overwhelming teams. Each alert requires an owner, escalation path, and documented response timeline. Monitoring transforms operational management from reactive firefighting into continuous situational awareness, a hallmark of mature CC7 compliance. Finally, backup and restore validation ensures that configuration integrity and data resilience coexist. Backups must include not just data, but also configuration files and system states. Restoration tests, conducted on a defined schedule, validate both completeness and speed of recovery. Each test's results should be documented, including failure analysis and subsequent improvements. Reviewing these results during governance meetings ensures leadership oversight of recovery readiness. Backups prove value only when restores succeed. CC7 requires evidence of both performance and verification. For more cyber-related content and books, please check out cyberauthor.me. Also, there are other prepcasts on cybersecurity and more at baremetalcyber.com. Effective change and release coordination ties operational stability to governance discipline. Patches, configuration updates, and deployments must align with an established change approval process, often overseen by a Change Advisory Board, CAB. Scheduled maintenance windows and blackout periods prevent disruptions to peak business operations. Emergency change procedures provide agility while preserving accountability through post-implementation reviews. Every release should include rollback verification and communication to affected stakeholders. This structured cadence turns constant technical change into predictable, low-risk improvement, an operational hallmark of CC7 maturity. Maintaining a dynamic asset and software inventory underpins every other operational control. A centralized repository must list all assets, tagged by owner, system type, location, and criticality. Integrations with vulnerability scanners and patch tools ensure real-time updates as systems evolve. Automated reconciliation detects discrepancies between inventory records and live environments, triggering corrective actions. Periodic audits validate accuracy and completeness. Without a reliable inventory, vulnerability and patch programs operate blind. With it, organizations gain full situational awareness of what exists, who owns it, and how well it's protected. Strong third-party vulnerability tracking extends responsibility across the supply chain. Organizations must monitor vendor advisories, security bulletins, and dependency disclosures affecting their platforms. For open-source components, dependency scanning tools flag outdated or vulnerable libraries, feeding results directly into development pipelines. Supplier contracts should include clauses requiring timely notification of security issues and prompt patch delivery. Evidence from vendors, such as patch notices or updated SOC reports, must be collected and reviewed. These activities confirm that vendor dependencies don't become unmonitored weak points within the organization's environment. A well-practiced zero-day response capability defines how quickly and effectively an organization reacts to emergent, high-severity threats. Predefined playbooks specify roles, escalation paths, and testing procedures for emergency patching or temporary mitigations. Accelerated validation in staging environments ensures that emergency changes don't introduce instability. Communication plans keep stakeholders, customers, and regulators informed, with verified updates, maintaining transparency even amid uncertainty. After containment, a retrospective review assesses what worked, what failed, and how playbooks or baselines should evolve. Zero-day readiness proves that resilience isn't luck, it's the product of preparation and procedural foresight. Operational dashboards bring visibility and accountability to CC7 activities. They aggregate key metrics, vulnerability counts by severity, patch compliance rates, average age of open findings, and configuration drift trends into a unified view. Leadership dashboards highlight exceptions and correlate them with incident or audit data to reveal systemic issues. Visualizing this data helps prioritize investments and track progress toward operational KPIs. Dashboards also provide auditors with living evidence of ongoing oversight, replacing static reports with continuous transparency. When well-designed, these dashboards transform complex technical data into clear narratives of control health and risk posture.
Automation and orchestration elevate operational consistency. Automated patching workflows schedule updates, verify success, and close tickets upon validation. Remediation bots or scripts can apply configuration corrections as soon as drift is detected. Exceptions follow predefined automated rules, routing approval requests to designated reviewers. Machine learning can enhance prioritization, surfacing vulnerabilities most likely to be exploited based on external intelligence. Automation reduces human error, accelerates remediation, and provides a complete digital audit trail of every action taken. The goal is not to remove human oversight, but to scale it efficiently across sprawling, fast-changing environments. Strong incident linkage and feedback mechanisms ensure that every operational event becomes a source of learning. Incidents should feed directly into configuration or vulnerability baselines when root causes reveal control weaknesses. Post-mortem analyses document findings and corrective actions, which are then integrated into standard templates or IAC definitions. Recurring issues, such as repeated patch failures, trigger ownership reviews and systemic fixes rather than temporary workarounds. Close collaboration between security, operations, and engineering ensures that insights flow freely across teams, transforming failures into catalysts for process improvement. The evidence expectations for CC7 emphasize completeness, traceability, and authenticity. Organizations must maintain baseline configuration files, vulnerability scan results, and patch logs covering the audit period. Change tickets, approvals, and post-deployment validation results demonstrate control execution. Monitoring reports, backup test records, and documented exceptions further substantiate reliability. Dashboards summarizing metrics provide leadership visibility and corroborate operational consistency. Each piece of evidence should include dates, responsible parties, and verification results, showing that controls operated continuously, not just at audit time. Despite clear frameworks, CC7 commonly fails where operational basics falter. Inconsistent asset inventories leave systems untracked. Patches are deferred without documented rationale. Configuration drift goes unnoticed due to lack of validation. Many organizations still lack proof of rollback testing or success verification after updates. The remedy is automation, backed by governance-mandated ownership, SLAs for remediation, and dashboards enforcing accountability. Mature programs treat every exception or delay as a data point for refinement, driving reliability through iterative improvement. The maturity progression for CC7 evolves from manual, ticket-based operations to orchestrated workflows and predictive intelligence. Early-stage environments patch reactively and rely on human monitoring. As automation increases, tasks like vulnerability scanning, patch deployment, and compliance reporting become continuous and self-validating. Eventually, risk-based prioritization and predictive analytics guide decisions, focusing effort where threats are emerging rather than where they've already occurred. The final stage integrates continuous configuration monitoring and vulnerability intelligence pipelines, turning operational maintenance into a proactive resilience engine. Sustained success under CC7 depends on cross-team collaboration. DevOps, security, and compliance must share ownership of the operational environment, using common dashboards and synchronized triage routines. Regular communication ensures that updates and fixes progress smoothly across teams. Metrics like patch latency or vulnerability recurrence rates anchor accountability discussions. Collaborative ownership breaks silos, creating a unified operational defense where every team contributes to system reliability and compliance outcomes. Continuous improvement forms the final pillar of CC7 through a structured feedback loop.
Trends in findings and exceptions reveal recurring pain points, which guide long-term mitigation or process redesign. Root causes, like insecure default configurations or poor dependency management, are eliminated in design rather than treated repeatedly in production. Adaptive SLAs evolve as threat and technology landscapes change. Lessons learned from audits, incidents, and drills feed back into configuration baselines, policies, and training. The cycle of monitoring, learning, and updating ensures that operational excellence remains dynamic, not static. In conclusion, CC7 defines how operational control transforms reliability from aspiration to habit. Through disciplined configuration management, rigorous vulnerability and patch cycles, and continuous monitoring, organizations sustain the trust promised under SOC 2. Automation, shared accountability, and responsive improvement turn maintenance into resilience, proving that stability is not passive, it is actively engineered. The next phase, CC8, Change Management and the Secure SDLC, builds upon this foundation by ensuring that every modification, code, or configuration follows structured approvals, testing, and rollback controls that preserve both security and performance.